Hello. So recently I purchased a San Martin vintage diver, which is a really beautiful homage to the famous Rolex 6538 James Bond Big Crown Submariner. And it comes in this lovely sort of rivet bracelet. Okay. Um, so one of the challenges I had on receiving this watch was actually resizing this bracelet. And the reason for this is because it comes with these double-headed screws. It's like inside them. So there are there's a screw head on both sides of the screw, and if you remove it, you can see that there's a really small there's a very small screw head on one hand. It's like, and there's a shaft. It's like with a screw thread inside this. Okay, so what that means is that when it's actually in the link itself, it freely rotates. Okay, so you're not actually screwing the screw into the link. You screw the screw. It's like into this shaft here. Okay, so that has several advantages. On the one hand, it's like it is a very secure design once once you're able to sort of resize it, because you don't have the situation. It's like what you do. It's like on sort of the traditional way Rolexes and Tudors are designed, where the screws into the link. And the problem with that design is that when you flex the links, there's oftentimes a torque which is applied, which may loosen the screw over time. Okay, whereas it's like with this double-headed design, it's like on the San Martin, you have a situation where because it freely pivots, you don't really apply as much torque. It's like which has the potential to release the screw. Okay. So the problem, of course, is that when it comes time to resize this, it's a little bit fiddly, especially when you get the watch straight from the factory, where either it's extremely tightly screwed in, or perhaps they've applied some thread lock from sort of factory. It's like to prevent it from coming loose. But then the effect is that I found it to be actually quite difficult to impart the necessary torque to release the screw head. So San Martin provides two screwdrivers as part of the package. And what you do, of course, is that you're supposed to, it's like use one of the screws. It's like on one end to prevent the shaft from rotating, and then you use your screw on the other end as well to try to apply enough torque to release this. So I found this very difficult, and part of the reason is that it's like the most comfortable way to do this, of course, is to attempt to basically hold one of the screwdrivers in your hand, and then sort of secure the one end of the screw. But the problem, of course, is that the supplied screwdrivers, it's like have this rotating property that if you just apply pressure at the top, the bottom can still rotate. Okay, so normally this is a very nice feature. It's like it makes it easier for you to unscrew a sort of a traditional screw. It's like by sort of applying pressure from the top and then just rotating it. Okay, but for the purposes of actually trying to apply enough torque to remove these double-headed screws, that turned out to be a disadvantage. So how did I end up doing this? So what I basically did was that if you look on the watch supply sites, there are these specialized tools. It's like which basically involve having a screwdriver tip, okay, which is just installed into a unmovable shaft or unmovable platform, and the idea is that you just sort of rest the bottom of the screw, it's on the shaft, and because it's not moving, you can then easily just rotate the top with a normal screwdriver. So you just have to hold it. You don't have to secure the bottom. Okay, so that's something which you can buy. It's like from the watch supply stores, but it was expensive, and so I decided to develop a makeshift solution to this. And what I did basically was that first I'm going to protect the the link itself with some sort of painter's tape. Okay, so that's sort of is to ensure that I don't scuff up the link if the screwdriver slips. Okay, so I've just secured this so I can have easy access to the part of the screw which I'm interested in, right? So I need to do this both for the top and the bottom. Okay, so I need to be able to do this both for the top of the screw as well as the bottom of the screw. Okay, and I want some way of easily securing one of the screw heads so that it doesn't rotate. And the solution I came up with was to basically take my trusty Swiss Army knife and basically mask off all but a very small portion of the blade so that part of the blade is exposed. And I'm going to use that part of the blade to secure one of the screw heads so that it doesn't rotate. Okay, so I'm going to just align the screw head. It's like with the blade, and it rests down nicely. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And so now it's much easier to control this, right? The blade is on my work surface, and all I have to do is to maintain pressure on it so that it doesn't slide, and then I can work from the top to apply sort of sufficient torque to remove the other screw head. Okay, so so that's all there really is. Okay, so that's again a fairly straightforward way then to resize. It's like one of these double-headed rivet bracelets, and you know, that hopefully will save you a little bit of heartache. It's like and frustration when trying to do this. I had a really hard time trying to resize this bracelet with the two screwdrivers, and you know, I slipped and I scratched. It's like one of the links, and then I finally came up with a solution, and I hope it's useful for you, and that you benefit from this. So of course, you know, it's like as I said before, you know, this approach works with the Saint Martin, because what happens is that the double-headed screw is actually protruding out of the link, right? So so you can just use a knife edge, as I said. It's like to secure one of the pieces. It may not work as well. It's like with, for example, the Omega Equaterra. It's like which also has this sort of double-headed screw design. But if I believe what's happened is that like most traditional screws, the screws actually recessed into the link, right? So so in particular, this little slit, it's like which the screwdriver blade normally goes into, is actually below the surface of the bracelet link. So I could not have secured that with just this knife edge here. So that would have required a different solution. But again, it's like specifically for the purposes of this Saint Martin vintage diver with the double-headed riveted links, right? You can use this sort of simple trick, and hopefully that saves you again a little bit of frustration and grief. I expect that if you're actually searching YouTube for a video, it's like on this, it's like then you probably encountered some sort of frustration on your own. It's like in actually trying to get this resized. So in any case, I hope this is useful for you.